Hi, I'm Virgil, and this is a brief overview of the OneTree approach to leading. In the communities my team serves, we think leading involves helping people thrive, work, and develop. We map this using the image of a tree. The roots are where the tree gets its sustenance. These are the 5 dimensions of soul. The trunk is where the tree most needs to be integrated, cinched together tightly so it doesn't come apart under its own weight. We help our people approach their work thinking about 4 key places where disintegration is likely and where integration could lead to force multiplication. And then the branches represent development, the diverse and very individual specific ways people can become who they are. The strength and vibrancy we get through our Thrive practices support and fuel our work, which is the substrate that our development comes from. Leading people to thrive is about catalyzing and capacitating them to do so in 5 dimensions. We teach our people that their one beautiful soul has 5 distinct and interdependent dimensions: the spiritual, the physical, the cognitive, the emotional, and the relational. No one of these is expendable. Critical skills that must be developed for personnel to be able to thrive include being able to assess quickly the relative health in any of these dimensions, and being able to form and execute an intelligent plan to thrive in each dimension. Leading people to do this well is a matter of catalyzing and capacitating. All leaders add energy to their systems. Sometimes that energy amounts to demands or abuse. Sometimes the energy is actually a negative space of benign neglect. They add a great sucking sound. But thriving is where we want to add our energy. This is where we want to insist, where we want to spend our influence coin. Disparity of power isn't a bad thing. Any place there is a disparity of power is a place where potential energy resides. All tired systems have massive amounts of available potential energy in them. They're simply located in the disparities of power. How that disparity is being inhabited is determining the outcome of that system. So if my leader is using that disparity of power for my best interests, not primarily to get more from me, but to help me become more, that feels like gospel, that feels like grace. It sets the tone of the relationship and it increases the total amount of strength in the system for vibrancy and fruitfulness. When you ask someone or expect someone to do something that they do not know how to do, or that they have blockages around, it doesn't feel like the light, easy yoke of Jesus. It's possible that their community of origin ignored or disparaged particular dimensions of soul, or their present community is preventing the expression of a particular dimension of soul. In these cases, leadership looks like capacity development. Developing the capacities of individuals and their ecosystems, helping them learn how to do the things that they should have learned how to do in their communities of origin. As you learn to thrive in these dimensions, you get stronger. You have more energy to bring to the task of your work. But it's possible to bring strength to your work and have bad outcomes. The 2 that are most common are simply the leakage of that energy, where it doesn't actually get reflected in what you're able to do in the world, or more frequently, injury. Imagine an Olympic lifter. They take a giant breath and they clamp their abs around that enormous breath and they brace their core so that they can transmit massive amounts of force from their legs through their hands into the barbell. If they were loose in the middle, if they were not integrated as one system, they would either become terribly injured or simply not lift the weight. So when we help our people bring their newfound strength to work, we ask them to look for integrations, to think about integration. The 4 places where the communities that we have served are most likely to disintegrate are these: in the connection between their work and God's. Jesus said, "I only do the things I see my Father doing." Many of the people that we serve don't even know how to see what the Father's doing. And even when they do, they often do what the Father's doing, plus what everyone else expects them to, plus the work being demanded by whatever internal script is running. Second integration is your oikos and your mission, your household and your mission. The idea of work-family balance is cruel. If you successfully achieve this balance, you go nowhere. Everyone loses equally. It would be much better to be able to integrate your household and your mission in the world so that everything is going in the same direction. your vocation and your ministry. Three different populations experience this integration or disintegration differently. I myself have been a college teacher, a pastor, and a cross-cultural worker. And in each of these three identities, this integration was the trickiest. And then yourself and your communities, your ministry team, and your integration with your host culture. Any work done to strengthen these four integrations tends to result in a force multiplier. Any degradation of these integrations tends to result in catastrophe. Leading here is a matter of coaching and consulting. So if I'm leading my people to work in an integrated way and in an integrating way, in a way that doesn't degrade them, but actually cinches them more tightly together, then I want to lead with questions. I want to lead with coaching. I don't need to have their solutions. I need to be activating their ability to pay attention and to access their own resources to overcome obstacles. I want to keep responsibility and agency in their hands, because to whatever degree they feel like it's happening to them, they lose the ability to act on the situation. But sometimes coaching simply isn't enough. Sometimes it is not kind to withhold a solution. It's good news that our supervisors might have more experience, knowledge, or authority than we have, because they can bring it to bear to help us do what we cannot do for ourselves. And if we are the supervisor, it's good news that we have more authority or knowledge or capacity than the people that we supervise do, when that's true, because it allows us to use our power to remove obstacles they cannot move, to access and connect them to resources they cannot find, or to reveal, to disambiguate what is unnecessarily cloudy for them. This is a positive use of positive power. And when we don't do this, it can feel like negligence. So to help our people thrive in 5 dimensions, we catalyze and capacitate. To help our people work in an integrated and integrating way, we coach and consult. This allows them to stay in their work for the long haul. This work over time provides an enormous library of experiences that, if attended to intelligently, will result in enormous personal development. Aristotle spoke of 3 kinds of work: the technical, the philosophical, and the poetical. Technical work is like building a chair or writing a computer program. Philosophical work is the academy. But poetical work is the work of midwives and poets and artists and teachers. It is the work of bringing forth something that was already there in seed form but had not come to full expression. 3 poieses are of particular interest to us. Poiesis by reflective experience. 70% of all leader development, of all personnel development, actually comes from reflection on experience. It does not come from key personal relationships or even content. 10% comes from content. 20% comes from mentors, counselors, coaches, peer groups. 70% of all developmental possibility resides in intelligently reflecting on the work that we have done. One kind of experience in particular is especially important. That is when we experience Jesus directly. 2 Corinthians 3 says that we are changed from one kind of glory to another kind of glory by beholding Jesus. This is poiesis by Christification. You're not just becoming like Jesus, though, when you develop. You are also becoming truly and deeply, actually, authentically yourself. This can be done in part through assessments and tests, but it is of special importance to have a companion in key moments of transition. Puberty, marriage, midlife, retirement. These critical transformations of the landscape of our lives are moments when we find out who else we are. These moments, sadly, are more often weathered than wondered at, and a lot is wasted. To lead toward poiesis, we must consider and cultivate. Leaders have to view knowing their people as central to their job, not to fix them, but to be fascinated by them, by the glory that God has placed uniquely inside each of them. It is important that they have our attention without asking for it. We need to spend time thinking favorably for and about them. More than just their Enneatype or Strengths Finder, we are out to look with Jesus at our people and to affirm what we see. As we consider them, we acquire the intel that we need to cultivate them. There are processes afoot within each of the people that we lead, gifts and competencies maturing and others just now germinating. Part of our job is to help them discover and work with those processes. This is done primarily through reflection on their real work, but there are myriad other resources that a good leader puts his or her people in touch with. There's no reason any of our people, any of the people that we lead, should ever fear finishing their course with untapped potential still inside them. In communities where people lead like this, it can feel like this. Someone being led this way knows their well-being is important and they know how to pursue it. They feel supported in finding what's most important to them in obedience to Jesus and focusing their energy there, not on one of the 100,000 other scripts and evil taskmasters that lay upon our shoulders. When we don't know what to do, or we can't do what we must, we have every confidence that someone can help us. And the cadence of meeting supports that. People being led this way feel seen and pursued, both for their own sake and for what they can contribute to the team. They don't feel like they have to work to get their leader's attention, and they actually have hope of reaching their full potential. Now, to be frank, this approach is a leadership approach. This is best deployed by leaders to the people that they lead. But we have found that it is also an excellent companioning model. It provides a narrative to get past acute reactive care through responsive, intentional, proactive care to developmental care. It gives a shape and a structure to people who are wanting to use the capacities they have gained in the healing arts to help people not just get out of the hole, but become truly effective, fruitful ministers of Jesus. We're aware that different leaders and different caregivers are going to find different parts of this process more natural than others. So we try to make this easy for any of us to remember. 5 dimensions of soul to thrive in, 4 integrations to bring to work, 3 poieses for intentional development, 2 leadership cues for each of those make one tree. I hope this has been helpful. May the grace and peace of Jesus be with you.